I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending Friday, April the 14th, where you talk about Risen. Here, if you've been enjoying all the Easter festivities, you hear a lot about Risen. Well, I tell you what, this market has taken a Risen here if you've been asleep or on vacation for the last week or so, because I tell you what, this past week was just gangbusters on raising up there, and it seemed like everything's just turned around. We were going downhill in the doldrums there. We had no support from the board. All of a sudden we found technical support from the board, and that uncovered even more fundamental support, and we're just going up. Seems like the market's turned around now. Everybody's getting some moisture. It's time to mothball that felt hat and bring your straw out. I've been working a lot of bull sales in Texas and Oklahoma, and some of you guys have jumped the gun a little bit, but it's okay. I grew up under strict hat etiquette and just basically some rules here which you need to live by is you don't wear a straw hat and a coat, and you don't get caught dead with a felt hat and a short sleeve shirt. So just remember those two things and you'll probably be all right. But look at your board for last week, June live cattle. Monday was up 50, Tuesday up $1.40, Wednesday up 65, Thursday up 35, and Friday was closed for Good Friday there, with June live cattle ending the week at 114.70. That was up 290 for the week, which seems pretty impressive there. But if you look at the spot April live cattle futures contract, it ended the week at 125.37, up 532 for the week, trying to run down cash. Everybody just kind of mocked that April was running so far behind cash all the way until we got, in here to the second week of April, and now it's the one that's caught having to try to catch up and not cash backing up to it. So that's a good thing, and still trading at a discount to what your cash price is and going to be. So your April board's got to climb a little bit more here this week and until it matures. But you look at May feeder cattle contracts, May's up $1.50, or Monday was up $1.50, Tuesday up $1.95, Wednesday up 50 cents, Thursday up 57, and Friday closed for Good Friday there. But your May feeder contracts ended at 138.40. That was up 4.53 for the week. Good showing on your feeder board. April's up at 137.80, and as good as those prices sound, you get to the end of summer and into fall, August and September contracts are both just over $1.40. Don't price those grass yearlings too quick. Let's see what this thing's going to do. Those cattle will highly be sought after. They always sell real well because those are the best feeding cattle that we have all year long, is your grass yearlings coming off that mid to late summer there. And don't price those too early. Pay attention because those cattle are worth a lot of money. But you look at your fat trade for last week, didn't have anything. We kind of were thinking maybe we'd even have a hard time holding steady. We were just kind of at a pivot point, but these negotiated cash sellers hung in there tight. We had nothing on the Fed Cattle Exchange, hardly, maybe one deal, but nothing to speak about. But these negotiated cash sellers, the reason the market is so good is because the guys that sell negotiated have hung in there. They've made this market. You guys that are hanging on their coattails and selling off the averages, off the grid, off the RTMV, off whatever, you owe it to them. Buy them a beer, a cup of coffee, breakfast, a steak, or whatever, because they have made this market. And they hung in tight until we got in there until Thursday. They wouldn't give up, weren't about to even trade steady. Held in there with the Southern Plains at 128, $2 higher. Northern Plains 128 to 130, which could have been called as much as $8 higher, because those 2 to 4 week future delivery sales that they were having the week previous were way down in the low 20s. Well, they're selling cattle at last week's negotiated and established price for 2 to 4 week delivery, because we're getting into May. We've still got maybe 3-4 weeks here of really tight market ready supplies in the Northern Plains. They said earlier that we were going to have a wall to hit when we got to May. that wall's been pecked at and pecked at where it's just about to crumble now. We've been pulling cattle forward, selling green cattle and killing them. We've got the weights down there now, and I think we can go right over that May deal and not have any problem at all. Your dress trade is very impressive, from 206 to 208, mostly 206 to 207, and that's $6 to $7 higher. But the impressive thing was the amount of cattle that were sold negotiated last week. 95,600 head through Thursday's sales. Could have had even a little bit more cleanup trade on Good Friday. Who knows? We'll find out here this week early. But you look at your slaughter, was very impressive. 590,000 last week. Not up to that 600, but we had kind of a couple weeks there of depressed slaughter, but that 590,000 was 17,000 more than the previous week and 39,000 more than the same week a year ago. Box beef cutout values look like they may have established a bottom. They were falling really hard and then kind of come back up this week and jumped up their high. Now, you might not be impressed with the average of the weekly sales, with choice carcasses at 209.94, down a nickel, and selects at 198.62, down 139. But we weren't expecting them to jump back and come back going north again quite this quick. But we've had kind of an early spring here, and we may get some of this grilling demand before we get as close as we normally do to your Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day grilling holidays there. But you look at the actual weight that come out last week was for the week ending April 1st, showed your actual dressed steer weight at 862 pounds. That was 6 pounds lighter than the previous report, but 22 pounds lighter than the same time a year ago. So that's a very, very bullish right there. But you also look, a big bullish thing is USDA had projections of beef imports and exports projected for 2017 to end this year with exports to be up almost 7% and imports down 9%. So that's the big thing. And I tell you what, fundamentally, we're just so strong that I hate to see that we could break this market again, but we're going to soon be overbought in the board here, and we'll just see how we hang on through that. But cash feeder prices gained $5 to $10 last week, and the full extent of that was seen like on Thursday in some of your big sales. And I'm not talking about in the sand hills with a bunch of farmer feeders being gun happy there, but no, I'm talking about in Kansas on just commodity cattle and order buyers from your big commercial feedlots, showing the full extent of that $5 to $10 higher. Real-time index on Beef Market Central ended the week at 135.50, up $4.35 for the week, but still trying to pull along a bunch of those lower prices from the previous week there, and that's still a pretty impressive showing there. But didn't have a lot of big high dollar sales there on Friday, but something that's just as impressive. If you look at Bluegrass Stockyards in Richmond, Kentucky. Now, I'm not talking about you know, one of those big Nebraska sales or something like that. This is in Kentucky, and it's a long ways to a commercial feedlot and long ways to any kind of a feeding facility there. But they sold a load of 856-pound steers Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning at 134.50. So if you haven't already gone on Cattle Market Central or Beef Market Central, or go to BMC on your phone apps there, just go to your app store there and look up BMC, which is Beef Market Central. It is primarily sponsored by Merck Animal Health, and but there is a ton of information on there. It's a free app. You can get on there, and if you're a Merck customer, you can even get all the way into where you can get these up to the minute feeder cattle prices there. But and if you've got a sale barn, if you're involved in a sale barn and you're not getting covered by those automated market reports that I quote on here and you see on the Feeder Flash and some other places there, get a hold of us, and we can tie into your accounting, or not your accounting system, but your clerk system, and pull that information right from the block. And so that's the report for this week from a home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.